I remember you in the mountains.
Hey guys, Tyler here, and thank you so much for checking out yet another episode of our award-winning In My Head podcast, which is In the Mountains.
In the mountains.
Yeah,
I got it right this time.
He got it right this time.
I did it.
I appreciate you
Good
guys
stuff.
hanging out with us. Yes, I even was the one kind of expected you to not hit it, but I'll be honest, you got me. I'm the idiot that's calling for it when it's already on the screen. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. This is going to be what we think is going to be episode 6. If it's actually episode 5, well, we'll film 5 at some point, and if it's 7, we'll film 6 now, I guess. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I appreciate you guys hanging out, and we kind of talked about it just before we went live. But I have to ask, Zaft, the X-Men poster there, is that the first issue?
Yeah, this is the first issue. It even says, "Don't miss this fabulous first issue." Can't.
Thanks.
But yeah, that's what it says. I do want to point out that Angel, for no reason, has a bazooka.
Sick.
His superpowers has wings and owns a bazooka.
That's all you need. That's it.
Yeah. I like how they're like, this is an angel. Okay, what's his superpower? Bazooka. A gun.
A gun.
I think it was the last time we recorded. Zaft spruced up his back wall there, so I had noticed it but didn't ask about it. So if you guys ever want to ask about any of this crap that I have in here, feel free. There's just Legos and SpongeBob is somewhere that you can't see, I guess. Pokemon, yeah. Oh yeah, maybe I should point it out for those of you guys that watch this. Got some new very cool Squidward art back there. Yeah.
More like belongs in the trash.
Bold and brash.
More like belongs in the trash.
You know, I'm rocking the classic.
Yeah.
Hey,
painted wall.
I mean, classics. It's the reason it doesn't go out of style.
Tried and true, timeless.
Right.
Or something.
The velvet
we
blue curtain.
promised. The blue curtain just kind of ties it all together.
One of our Patreon goals is you find out what's behind the curtain. we literally pull back the curtain. But
we keep plugging this Patreon. Maybe we should actually make one.
We should actually make a page. There's some poor souls.
And there'll be one tier, and it's $1. Oh my God! You actually clicked the link.
Thank you. $1? Really?
Like here, we got it! Quick! $1? Go! Yeah!
And then by the time we split that $1 amongst ourselves and pay the taxes or whatever that they take, we'll each have $0.25, and it'll be great.
And then it gets taxed. Anyway.
Oh no. Well, we don't have to report that to IRS. It'll be fine.
Podcast used to be about something.
Okay, fine,
sure?
fine. Well, I promised we would get the tangent out of the way early. We got that.
We even
now
our own tangent.
It's like a tangentception. Well, I'm telling you, we need a button.
Yeah.
But anyway, tangent, boom, out of the way, got that done. We're going to be talking about the World of Warcraft, or more like just kind of, it is WoW, but it's kind of Blizzard just as well. 2024 roadmap that was just released. Yeah. So
super
exciting. I am definitely excited. There's a lot of honestly, so I have it on my phone here, but honestly, some really surprising additions to it already. Like we figured that War Within would be here at some point next year.
Yep.
I don't know about you guys. I didn't expect it to be popping out probably August. It's in between summer and autumn on the map.
It's earlier than I would have said, like as a reaction. Mm-hmm. But it definitely isn't paced with the pace that they're keeping up, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's nice. I was really getting ready for, oh boy, Faded for a year.
Well, yeah.
So, not that was going to be awful, but it wasn't going to be, great. But
well, it'll definitely be interesting. And we'll talk about each section as we go. But just have to say, Faded Season 4, we all three 100% called that. Knew that was going to happen. So
True.
Apparently, somebody at Blizzard watches our award-winning podcast.
Yeah.
So,
Hi,
Ian.
Hi.
Hey guys, how'd you get in here?
Yeah, just give me a call, just real quick. Just call me.
I have a message on Twitter. Oh, look, it's Watcher.
Wait, hold on, my phone's ringing? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't even have a Twitter.
This isn't even live.
Yeah, I know. Now you do.
All Twitter on your phone.
But we've got a lot to talk about for the roadmap. Some interesting things along the timeline, and we're basically just going to go section by section. So I will put I'll put the link to the all the information that's up on Wowhead that will be found in the description of the video, and then I will put this whole roadmap here on the screen here at some point if you guys have not seen it yet. So first thing on there, we're talking about winter. So this is technically end of 2023 is going to be a little bit on that side of it. So we're going to be talking probably January, February is what they're going to consider winter, I'm assuming.
Yeah, probably right after the
They don't have too much winter left to...
well, yeah, I know. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, if they're going to do that, it would have to be like January. I'm thinking more like probably late January or first week of February.
But also, go ahead.
No, you can go.
A lot of this stuff is being tested right now. So this is probably coming sooner rather than later.
Well, actually, now that I think about it, one of those items is something that's near and dear to my heart. Not everybody, but is the Outland Cup. And I'm pretty sure that's the last week of January.
It's got
it's already on the calendar?
Yes. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it is. Where I've seen the last week of January thrown around because I've been talking with a lot of people with the with just like making videos and that sort of thing, and other creators that have also made their videos, and they said that it was like last week of January for that. So that will be interesting.
So it's currently on the calendar from January 11th to the 24th.
Oh, the 11th. Okay, gotcha. So even earlier. So that would be T-minus 3 weeks.
Do remember the calendar has seen, every so often it'll have like a not actually factual date.
Yeah, because it's also saying that the Northrend Cup is coming in April.
Ooh. Don't see Northrend Cup on this.
And different... I'm just scrolling through the calendar at this point. Pandaria apparently coming in July.
Ooh.
Cool.
Oh, this is... Oh, my goodness. Jeez.
But I mean, again, for all we know...
That could all change. Yeah.
Well, just think... I know we're skipping ahead, but... 10-2-7 is that time-running pandemonium. Watch, all that is just dragon flying. That would upset so many people. I know it's not. But that would upset so many people. They're expecting mop challenge mode gear and all this other stuff, and they're like...
I can already tell you one thing. There's only 2 possibilities now for that. And again, I know we're skipping, but 2 possibilities for that pandemonium. It either was something... a lot less exciting, like just, it's races in Pandaria, and people are like, right? It either was that, or it is something a lot better. The reason why both of those are likely true, right? Or, like those are the 2 possibilities, is because the person that is designing a bunch of this stuff, Holly, whatever her name is, right?
Yeah.
Maybe put her foot in her mouth, and already started hyping it up in Twitter. So now they have to deliver. They have to deliver now. That's it. Because somebody said like, "Oh yeah, what if it's this awesome thing?" And she said something along the lines of, "What if it's something even better?" You set expectations. Yeah. That's right. We're in. You got. It's got to be
talk
cool.
A big game.
Yeah, talk a big game.
You're setting your awesome event up for failure if you're going to hype it up like that, though. So hopefully it is something good.
Exactly, and I would like to believe that even if they weren't ready for it, now after seeing the reaction, they're like, okay, we got 3 months.
Money in.
Let's go. Yeah. So, all right, we'll see. But anyways, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, back to winter.
Back to winter. So in winter, the first item that's going to be, or event, I guess you could say, is going to be 10-2-5, which is going to be the Seeds of Renewal. And Seeds of Renewal comes with it like the epilogue for what we have in store for us story-wise for Dragon Isles. I actually haven't finished all of the storylines. I still haven't done the tier stuff, so I've got some work to do.
Cool
so that'll
stuff.
be interesting.
That's a good one.
One of the big things, other than obviously the Outland Cup, would be the reclamation of Gilneas.
Yeah.
I want to know, like, are we going to get a Horde and Alliance storyline? Are they going to be different? That will be very interesting.
So, I don't know about that, but I do want to mention. I do want to mention something that I'm actually excited for. But before I do, are a little bit of spoilers okay? Like for both of you, is that something that
I'm
I
caught up
know
on
you're
the
anti-spoiler.
Fine. Nope, fine. For the good of the podcast, let's do it.
So, to my understanding, this could be just data mine stuff that ends up being incorrect or whatever. But what might be plaguing Gilneas might be the Scarlet Crusade.
Oh, that's right.
Which is
yeah.
super cool. That to me is such an interesting idea where somehow they resurfaced. They don't have a safe haven, so they took over a portion of Gilneas. Yeah. I don't know, but that sounds super cool. And then if that's the case, again, could be data mining. It was just on a Wildhead post or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then I can already imagine, the Worgen are in it to have their home back. But if they get help from the Forsaken, they're in it for payback. And that's super exciting. That's super interesting to me.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that one. I couldn't give two shits about Gen, just being honest.
Do we think that it'll just be like a quest line story? We show up, we do a thing, a little scenario.
If it is a quest line, it needs to, even if they're not doing Scarlet Crusade stuff, right? Maybe it's just a quest line where Gin is going there and they are going to retake it all for their own. I hope it's an epic enough quest line where you have a lot of things going on that it's just not like a kill 10 of this, go pick up 5 of this, go do this. And, even if it's like 15 quests, but if it's just kind of like little stuff.
Yeah. I think Gilneas from bandits.
I think a cool thing that they could do, especially with the next point of the list, which is dragon riding worldwide, is an inclusion into Gilneas is, hey, we're taking this by Dragon Storm.
By air.
Yeah, we're taking it by air, and a lot of your quests are dragonflight related. Maybe not all of them, but I mean, they'll...
Well, anybody who likes the cups is going to immediately be scarred by that, because in the Eastern Kingdoms Cup, Gilneas was the hardest one.
Oh, dude.
Literally the hardest one. Yeah.
I didn't do
they weren't
Eastern
too bad.
Kingdom.
But...
I got my Drake Racers set, and I was like, good. That's it. First cup, I'm good. Whatever.
I'm pretty sure they're putting a recolor of that in for Outland, by the way.
And I'm doing the fuck out of Outland as a result. Damn it, I broke the rule. Sorry.
Don't swear, kids.
It's all right.
Don't do it.
Don't you dip.
I'll edit it. I'll edit it out in post, like I edit all of my videos.
Yeah.
So yeah, he also said that dragon riding is going to be worldwide, which will be in 10.2.5. I know there is a more like a vocal minority. Hi Zelda, are you coming to crash the party? But there is a small vocal minority that doesn't like dragon riding. It's a pure, just like it's a random thing, just like it's the like the gotcha thing for each tier or each expansion, and then it goes away. Where I think dragon riding is 100% here to stay, clearly, and I don't want it to just be a gimmick. So I'm excited to see that come back into the overworld, the main world. We've been testing it for them with the cups, so we've been clearly helping them out with that. It would be interesting to see if they will ever fix, I know this is kind of off topic, but they'll ever fix like the no flying zones, like in Ghostlands.
Oh yeah.
And Eastern Kingdoms. I know they are Eversong. Eversong? No. Yeah, Eversong. There we go. Blood Elves. Yeah. I know they said it was too hard for them to do that because of how it was added onto the world, but it would be interesting that they have all these resources, they can update the world for dragon riding, if they could do that with that.
It's some weird stuff about how the maps are joined together, right? Like I think
that's why there's a portal.
Yeah,
because it's like not technically on it.
Yeah.
It's technically
They're like part of Outlands map or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the same instance portal kind of situation.
That's interesting.
But they figured out the bags, right? They figured out the extra 4 slots on the backpack, which was the biggest mystifying thing for years. So maybe they can figure this one out.
If they can do that, they can do this.
Yeah.
So
I think it's there. But
the dragon riding is one of my favorite things. Like, dragonflight could have been a flop, in my opinion. Definitely not, and I think that a lot of people would say it's not a flop at all. But if one thing good came out of it was dragon riding, and that, so be it. Like, awesome. Like, if, for example, if Warlords had dragon flying or dragon riding, even though the expansion was kind of meh, I'm like, okay, at least I got something. Now I just have a Garrison Hearthstone.
Yeah.
So it works out.
I kind of agree with that sentiment, especially with their ideology about flying, especially early on in expansions. And I think Dragonflight was like the right response, and I think it worked really well. And I'm glad that they're adding it worldwide. I mean, I do understand the cry for accessibility for some people, which is valid, totally fine. But you'll still have your standard flying available.
It's not even like it's going to be that much faster either.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm slightly nerfing the speed on dragon flying.
Yeah. So I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fine because I mean I'll still use standard flying if I'm like, hey, I have to fly from Tanaras all the way up to all the way up
number lock AFK.
Exactly, yeah, just auto fly, say, set it and forget it. Whereas like, oh man, I want to get here maybe a little bit faster and not fall asleep doing it. Or if I'm like, oh crap, I got to look at my talents and I'm doing a bunch of stuff, I could just set it and forget.
Well, also with the old zones weren't made with dragon riding in mind, so you're gonna seem like you're zipping through a lot of those though too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's definitely true.
Yeah, literally.
That is very true. So the reason I said also that it's not just just World of Warcraft is that we are going to be getting a Hearthstone anniversary event. Mm-hmm. I used to be really big on Hearthstone, not so much anymore. It's been quite a few full year seasons since I've really dove in like head first. But it'll be interesting because they usually, anytime we have an event like that, they usually tie it into WoW. So I'm assuming there'll be some sort of reward for going and playing this other game that you'll bring back to WoW. So that will be great. One of the last ones, particularly for Hearthstone, was Sarge, what was it? A mouse, yeah. The mouse mount. So I mean, if it's going to give me a +1, I mean that's fine by me.
It's true.
They usually have some more
+1s.
They usually have something cool to tie.
Well, I mean, even when they had the Heroes of the Storm event, I know. Sorry to burst your bubble on that one, but that was a really good mount. Like they had, you go and you play our game for a little bit, boom, you get a reward in multiple games, and I think that's definitely the right way to go on that. So I'll be excited.
And Hearthstone is one of those games that like they would definitely do like a crossover like that. Like they're not gonna put something like Overwatch related into WoW for an Overwatch anniversary just because like it doesn't translate quite perfectly. Whereas like they can do that with Hearthstone. They can do that with the Nexus. They wouldn't do it for StarCraft, other than like pets, I guess. You could see probably some pets, but no.
They usually save that sort of crossover for BlizzCon events or like collector's editions.
Didn't we have some in-game events for Diablo's anniversary though? Or am I imagining?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did. Yeah.
So
I think
my 36 slot bag says we did.
I think thematically though, Diablo is closer to World of Warcraft than Overwatch and StarCraft is.
I don't know.
Like,
we could maybe get a new what is it? Like a Winston mount. It was right around on a giant gorilla.
Jumps around. I love that.
Excuse me, giant scientist.
True.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Ride around in a ball like a wrecking ball.
If they put like a Winston skin on the Gurlock or something, that'd be cool.
I can dig it.
Yeah, so if that happens, you heard it here first. Just saying. That'd be an easy 6-month or 12-month sub mount, Blizzard.
I'm just saying, Blizzard, you heard it here first. So, like a 0.1% for the podcast based on sales, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
I'm saying, that's the rules.
You got to do it.
I'll split the difference. We'll do like a 0.01. I'll do that, and then great. That's better than the quarter we're all three gonna make for this. But that's kind of what we have in store for 10.2.5, which is a pretty good little mid patch, because we do have. I still don't know what this is going to be, but we have a 10.2.6 skull and crossbones there on the old roadmap. My initial thought was where it's particularly setting in between winter and spring would be some sort of April Fool's joke. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought immediately, because everybody was expecting the next expansion to be pirates. They kind of hyped up pirates by saying no pirates on Twitter a while ago. So I don't know. What do you guys think? It's 10.2.6. Do we think we're going to see some sort of random pirate nonsense, or is this just April Fools?
Look, if you put a skull and crossbones, if you put the Jolly Roger, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you put the freaking Jolly Roger on your freaking roadmap and don't say anything else about it, you better damn well be pirates. Ian.
Right.
What else could it be?
I'll take some pirates in my life. That's fine. I love pirates.
There's not that many options. They've dropped how much pirate stuff are we up to in like the shop that have come out and whatever.
Exactly. Or just sea themed mounts.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I don't know.
Ian. The first time this came out, I saw it, and of course, because my brain never does anything correctly, so I looked at it and I was like, yeah, 10.2.6, somebody's gonna die. Got it.
Yep.
They're gonna publicly poison somebody. Like not like an in-game character either. Like they're gonna kill like Bobby Kotick or something.
That's how you announce it.
Somebody.
It's okay. He leaves by the time it comes out. So
he'll be gone here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's all right. We don't condone that.
We don't. I'm just speculating.
But pirates would.
I'm just speculating. Pirates would, and we have no control over what a pirate would do.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe
it's true.
I don't know.
Or do we have control over what pirates do in 10.2.6?
Get the X-Files going.
Oh, I know. I'm getting an eye patch for the show that week.
Okay. I mean, my character normally wears an eye patch, so maybe I can find one here, and maybe I'll start a podcast with this thing on my head at one point. I tried it out. It would fit my ginormous head.
We're raising the stakes too quickly. I can only procure glasses in a week.
Only if we get pirates. This is what will happen if we get pirates. If not, you don't get to see any of this. It doesn't happen.
Unless, of course, the Patreon tier is right.
It has to be.
That's true.
It's got to be pirates. It's like a tattered flag and everything.
I would love to see like a pirate week or something. I don't know. Have fun with it.
My only concern is that we have now irreparably overhyped ourselves.
100%.
That's it. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
110%.
Taika Waititi will come to every WoW player's house and kiss them on the mouth. That's 10.2.6.
Now Haley's gonna want to play WoW.
That's right. Hey,
if it works, it works, right?
Oh no.
Hey, while you're here doing that, can you sign this? Yeah. So yeah, we're not entirely sure what it's going to be. There's been no information out there whatsoever. But what we do have information on, I mean, just right here by information. I mean, we have a season 4 that's going to be out, which we kind of talked about already. We figured that the 4-tier structure, whether that last tier is another raid tier itself, which I had kind of hoped for. But it didn't happen. So we're going to have a faded-esque tier. The term that they used is revisited, because faded would give people a bad taste in their mouth, probably. But
maybe.
I guess.
Maybe.
Well, I should say there were some weeks it was fine with faded, where you know the little moats and then you had this or whatever. It was fine, and then there were some that made the fights just brutally difficult.
Yeah, it was just
and not
unbearable at times.
I wouldn't know. I wasn't there.
I was gonna say, yeah. So Zaft and I, we played Faded quite a bit. Drexit continued to raid, but Glitch and Star weren't around for a little while there. So we definitely got the full Faded treatment, where maybe you guys didn't as much. So it should be fun for you, and I hope that they learned from what didn't work.
Minus one thing, but continue.
Yeah. Well, I just say I hope that they've learned from what didn't work, and it is more of just a fun tier. I hope there's fun rewards for, you know, doing all the normal raids or all the heroic raids like they did last time. Like everybody got Jigglesworth as a mount. That did, I think, was it just normal that we got? Because I think it was normal was Jigglesworth, and then Hero of Fate was heroic, and then you got portals to the raids for mythic.
Yeah.
So they'll probably do something very similar to that, where you'll get portals, which I won't get, but that's okay. And then I don't know what kind of title.
It's okay, because if those mythic portals have been pressed by any player at all, I'd be surprised.
Yeah. Well, so that's the thing. So
post expansion.
Sure. Well, most of the time, if you are somebody who's regularly killing bosses or killing the mythic raid boss, you probably have the mount already, and you probably have most of the gear. You know, I mean, like Mog wise.
Like Transmog.
So it would just be travel at that point, I would say.
I mean,
it would make going down to the caverns easier.
That's fair.
Yeah.
There is one thing that I'm very worried about. And this is some glitch brand, the Doom Kool-Aid. So get ready.
All right, Doomer.
Okay,
Doomer.
Consider the following. If we revisit the raids, then that means presumably we're going to be on some sort of cycle, like we were in the past, right?
Yeah.
And that means all of those items are going to get bumped up, like they were in the past, right?
Oh no.
Does that include the legendaries? Because there's
Probably.
two of them. Two of them this time.
Well, I mean, if they treat it the same way they did the bow, yeah.
And that means there's going to be a lot of evokers fishing on Sark. If you had your claw from Season 2, does it upgrade to Season 4? If not,
better.
you need a new one.
Better. There better be something that drops from Faded Sark that lets you upgrade your claw. That's what I want more than anything else. That.
Well, so in Shadowlands they had the 3 dinar that you could get.
Yep.
And one of those dinar spenders was an item to upgrade my legendary bow, just on the vendor.
The bow
so I didn't have.
Right?
Yeah,
something
sinew or something.
Yeah, that's
sinew. So they'll probably have something like that, but they are, from what I understood from Ian, I think it was Ian that had talked about it, was that they're not going to be putting like all of your best items are not going to be just on the vendor type thing, which is healthy for the game. It's healthy.
That's probably all right.
As long as they pick and choose like fairly, because there were some classes where you could spend one dinar on the vendor and that was it. You didn't even bother spending the other 2 because everything else was from Mythic Plus or from raid items that were not available to just purchase.
I think like the first 2 slots for Nerf were the Rippers from Sepulchre. The really sick fist weapons, I think.
Yeah, from Bainsmith.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, those are that's it. I use it for those 2, and then the third one is like, I don't know, do whatever you want.
I'm pretty sure the third one because I only spent 2. I ended up getting the sinew from the raid. I think because we killed it and I actually got it to drop.
Got it to drop?
Yeah. And so,
I'm learning about this months later. That's exciting.
Months. This is like a year ago at this
Years
point.
later. That's exciting.
But yeah, we got it to drop. And then, so I basically just bought the quiver. I didn't need it, but I just bought it for Mog at that point.
Yeah.
because I was just like, otherwise I'm going to lose it, so I might as well spend it.
I don't
There
even
is
remember
also-
what I got.
There is also the concern that there's a bunch of rare items now. Like a lot more relevant rare items.
I thought you were gonna bring up like Icon Gaming and like Chromatic Essence and bringing those back.
We know that's happening. We know that's happening, and if it's Icon, or rather, if Icon is available to be fully upgraded, it's just Icon, right? Like,
yeah,
there's no way it's not. Well, there
so
are ways
it would literally. So, how many people are going to go out there and just go mound of stats over anything, and they're going to go pick Icon, and they're going to get Essence from Avarice, or they're going to go get a Pips and put them together.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Then there will be people like us that going after the beacon, which will be fun.
I mean that's just how it is, right?
Well,
like
also there are items though. For example, beacon. That's what kind of came to my head. Beacon, Neltharian's Call to Dominance, which were the two trinkets I used in raid, were both nerfed to go into season 3, so you don't use them. Does that mean, even though I do anyway? So does that mean that those items will be unnerfed? Or I wonder how that's going to work.
I hope.
I definitely hope that. Well, I was say I just definitely hope that Beacon, because maybe I don't use it all the time, but Beacon was just fun, and Zaft can, and I mean you now because you have the caster one.
You can hear me.
It's just fun. It's just you see a big number on the screen, and it's just fun, and it's an engaging trinket, and you don't get that often with trinkets anymore.
Except that there's some fights this tier that I'm terrified of using it because it deals damage to you. So, so in Smolder on, I'm always like, oh, when do I? Or now?
Oh, I'm dead.
Oh, I'm dead. Yeah.
I mean, there were times where I would use Beacon, and it's like a 1.5 second cast or something, where I'm sitting there, I'm not generating holy power, I'm not keeping my stacks up, I'm not in consecrate or something. I'm like you could probably look back on those fights and be like, oh yeah, Zaft's just getting trucked for like 1.5 seconds. What is he doing? And I'm just like sitting there charging my fireball, like asking for all my friends to give me power.
Now that you mention it, don't we have a portal run where you try to beacon the boss and
you got wiped off the face of the earth, and you're just
hear
quiet.
Me, you're like, ah!
You're like, what happened? And then you're just like, I died. Why? I was casting beacon.
I think it. You know what it was? I think it was Brackenhide, and I think I was casting it while I was standing in front of the boss while she does her frontal, or while he does his frontal. Final boss, and that frontal annihilates you on Tyrannical.
And we just hear
at a 20.
I was using beacon.
Yeah, but the boss was dead.
Yeah, it was. It was hilarious.
I'll have to go back and figure it out because I was thinking it was Uldaman.
It might have been
on the last boss.
That is another one that is viable. There's a lot of take busters. But yeah, Dragonflight Raid Revisited, and then it just says for season 4. I mean, new PvP season, new Mythic Plus season, new open world rewards. We all kind of do that, but and we talked a little bit about like what the 4th Mythic Plus season, what we were hoping for, right? We talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. As much as I don't want them to all be together, it's going to be all. I at least think it's going to be all 10 Dragonflight dungeons in total. So the 8 original dungeons plus the mega dungeon.
I agree.
I know why they would do it, and it makes sense. I really hope not. To be honest, like I understand why, and I wouldn't hate it. But I would not be super happy to go back to, for example, Ruby Life.
Yeah.
I'm just not looking forward to that. Like, it's not because the dungeon was difficult. We did it more than once on a very high key level.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that. I don't like that dungeon. I don't want to do it again. Same with our kind of same with Vault. I don't know.
Yeah, Azure Vault is definitely one of those where I'm like, eye roll.
Yeah. There's definitely worse dungeons. Don't get me wrong. Like if they told me, "Hey, Ruby Life Pools or Siege of Borealis,"
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Against the dragons.
Yeah, that's fine.
They're like, fine, here's Toldagor. Watch. Just they're going to continue to do dungeons the way they do with Mythic Plus. War Within. We get. Let's say they do the same thing, right? We have great first season, great second season. They're like, awesome. So we're going to bring back more from the past. This is such a great expansion. It's the best ever. And then they're like, so here's your new Mythic Dungeon pool. We have Gate of the Setting Sun. We have Toldagor and Siege of Borealis.
And we'll bring it back, Theater of Pain.
And then they wonder why they have the lowest.
Why am I doing keys?
Yeah, I don't understand. We'll buff the rewards. It'll just be. I just hope that they spread out the bad. They're not bad dungeons, but they're buggy or they're just not engaging, not fun.
You know what they should do for the Fated season? The meme halls season.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. More than anything else, I want the halls season. I don't care. Halls. Guys, I got a halls 18.
Right.
All right, cool.
So let's say let's play some devil's advocate here. So let's say they don't choose all of the dungeons. What dungeons that would be like? Let's say from, I guess they've went as far back as Cataclysm now. So Cataclysm forward. What is one dungeon that you guys would like to see for Mythic Plus?
One.
Just in general.
I have to look because my choice would have been Vorpin.
Yeah, I'll while he's looking at that, I'm gonna. So I did a quick count. From not including classic, so counting Burning Crusade. So Burning Crusade, Wrath, Kata, Miss, Warlords, Legion, BFA, Shadowlands. That's 8. So if they wanted to, they could do a one of each from the last 8 expansions. If they wanted to do something like that, break away from like the mold. And it sounds like Glitch has got it. So
yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
All right, so I have 2 answers, one broad one and one specific one.
Okay.
Broad answer: a troll dungeon. Any troll dungeon, pick one. I'll even accept, wildcard ZF or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine the pyramid event in an 18 or something?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. But if I have to be specific, King's Rest.
King's Rest.
I know
solid.
King's Rest is super,
I like it.
It's rough, but I don't know. I always like that dungeon. Even while we were getting blasted,
Well, King's Rest in Season 3 and Season 4 was a much different experience than in Season 1 and 2. So if they bring back the quality of life changes they made for Season 3 and 4, sign me up for that and twice on Sundays.
But I get
would
it.
Definitely like that.
What was his name? Machimba? Machimba was tough.
Mm-hmm.
And Dazar slapped.
Uh-huh. Well, I liked on Machimba where I could cheese some of the mechanics, which was nice, because then there was a reason to bring a Marksman Hunter for a change. Oh, wait, no, we didn't exist in BFA. Never mind. I'm not bitter about it.
For me, also probably a really hot take. I would go with MSP, Mogashan Palace. I think that's a cool dungeon. It's very thematic. It's kind of like Temple, where it's like very Mists of Pandaria, and I feel like those are bosses that will give your team a run for their money. There is trash in there that gives you a run for your money. There's skips that you can do. There's cool interactions with different. I think it's really cool done.
So
that weapon master would be.
Tyrannical Weapon Master, fucking insane. But
on challenge mode, there was a spot where you could just basically stand and you didn't have to do anything. You just stood there and DPS'd him. So they would probably have to change that. Yeah. Otherwise, you could literally just be like, great. All right, we're going to stand right here. Nobody moves. Everybody stands on the exact spot, and then the tank brings him over, and that's it.
Yeah, but you do that, and then you bring him all the way over to that one spot. Because I know what spot you're talking about. People do it on time walks now. bring them all the way. Yeah, this is how this is
The
like
strat,
well known.
right? Here we go, guys.
Yeah. Oh, we'll finally be able to time this time well. Yeah. So they bring them all the way over there. You can avoid the stuff. But like you bring them over there, and then somebody is gonna get hit with a tornado and get knocked up into the staff, and they're gonna get flattened by it, or they're gonna get hit with a volcano, like volcanic, and flattened. There's going to be an afflicted ad that's in the wrong place, or a incorp that's in the wrong, like you say that, but like
that is such a busy fight.
Everybody gets entangled. Yeah. Everybody gets entangled, and it's like, oh, okay, easy to say when you have like, if you're running with like me and Odwin, that's 4 freedoms that can go out. But what if you don't have paladins? You got to run those things out, or you gotta. I mean, most people have root breaks, but you know what I mean.
Well, they've shown that they can change those dungeons. I mean, we've only seen one missed dungeon officially. Right?
I don't think they would change.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think they would change a dungeon to intentionally make it harder. I feel like when they changed
no.
And they changed...
There's already precedent for that.
But like harder than it was? Like I
mean, look at Azuman. What happened in Azuman? Nothing.
That's true.
And now he's insane.
But that's just giving him mechanics, though, isn't it? Like for Temple of the Jade Serpent, they revamped first boss because that first boss was dumb.
It made it harder. I mean, that's.
But it made it more. I don't know. I don't know how they would change it to make it. I guess I get what you're saying. That they can't. They do make it harder.
Well, they made it more engaging by making it harder.
Yeah. I guess that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't know how if they would make it harder, but they would make it more engaging. And I don't know how they would make it, but I do want to say MSP. That's my vote.
Okay.
I also agree with Glitch though. Any troll dungeon, I think that's pretty cool.
Trolls are cool.
And I would
say of trolls, next thing on the no, I'm just kidding.
What's on troll?
What is Greeley?
Hey, I have my say here.
Yeah.
So, my pick.
Rimrail Depot again.
Yeah. I have to my mouth. Yeah. I told you guys I'd never go in there, and I'm serious. I would probably pick Shadowfang Keep.
Yeah. I was get him out of category.
Shout out to Barry.
Yeah. Right. I really liked as much as I played Cataclysm when it first started. That place was brutal. It was so overtuned, just in general. And heroics sucked. It was so hard getting gear. So I had like this really bad opinion of it for a while. Because I remember you would queue up, you would get Shadowfang Keep, or you would get Dead Mines, and people would just leave. They wouldn't even bother. And I knew that Godfrey at the very end of Shadowfang Keep had the BIS Boomkin staff, and so I would never actually got it to go into raid. So I'm still kind of salty about that.
You remember that first boss, the guy that puts you down at 1 health, and he used to have like a follow up, like Shadowward Pain or something that he did.
It had to be instant dispelled, or else you just
that got removed. Do you remember that? That got removed.
Yeah.
Because
people couldn't handle
too much.
Yep.
That's crazy. I've never seen a heroic nerf like that. Obviously, there weren't that many comparisons to be made at the time, but
yeah.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, we're sorry.
Yeah, oops.
But yeah, that would definitely be my pick. I think that I say what you want about Throne of the Tides. There's a lot of things that need to be still. You're like,
and I will go into.
But they've picked a good dungeon in Cataclysm, and they've picked a bad one. So I'm hoping that they can see that. I'd say overall, Vortex Pinnacle was universally liked, or not, at least not hated.
Yeah.
Where Throne of the Tides, maybe not so much. So they can learn that these Cataclysm dungeons can be made for Mythic Plus. You can excel and do well in them, but at the same time, there are some parts to them that do still maybe even need to be overhauled and just completely redone. And you know, they've shown that they're willing to listen to feedback and learn from their mistakes. So if they pick another Vortex or another Cataclysm dungeon, whether it's Meme Season 4 or Season 1, if they're going to continue to do that into War Within, I'm fine with it, and I'll give them a fair bit of leeway to show what they can do. So, but my pick is definitely
Shadowfang.
A Shadowfang keep. Definitely fun, and it would fit in pretty well with the Reclamation of Gilneas as well.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I really hope they keep doing the a couple of current dungeons, a couple of old dungeons.
I
feel like that's been a success.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not in the minority.
I want it to. I want it to continue to be a success, so much so that they go back and they continuously revamp older and older dungeons.
It's a great opportunity for them to bring old dungeons up to these standards that we have now, that aren't just to go in and clear the place, but to have affixes and have, you know, that sort of thing, where they have better pathing, they have better res areas as well, except if you're in Halls of Infusion, they still haven't figured that one out.
Well,
I don't think they figured out graveyards in general.
Don't die.
Yeah, I can. Don't die, forehead. Yeah, pretty much. But to bring them back up to the standard that a dungeon has now, a little bit at a time, is going to get quality changes to these dungeons. Instead of just saying, "Hey, we're going to redo all the Cataclysm," and then you get some that are good, you get some that are half baked, and you get some that are garbage.
Yeah,
it's got a potential like knockoff effect, or whatever you call that, into time walks as well. Because if they just make a dungeon in general better, and it includes time walk, then it's just a better dungeon.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. So it'll be interesting to see what the next crop of them, like I said, whether it's for this next season, the Fated season, or if it's on into War Within. But moving ahead, we have 10.2.7, which they have called Dark Heart, which will be very interesting. I wonder what that's going to have to do with. I'm going to skip the very first thing on there, and we'll talk about that, probably do some speculating. But we have... Well, we'll get there.
That's the last.
Yeah, it's best for last. But we have new holiday events, spring, so that's probably going to be Noble Garden, and probably moving into summer. So I'm not sure what that's going to necessarily be. I think Children's Day probably needs a real good revamp, or Children's Week, excuse me. So that should probably be revamped. Got some new Troll and Draenei Heritage armor. Definitely good. I'm excited to see what that Troll armor is going to look like.
Me too.
I'm hoping we'll get some Zul'jin, maybe Loa, whatever you want to do. Maybe even some Bwonsamdi kind of hanging out in there. We haven't seen him in quite some time. I would always appreciate that.
Depending on the tier of that troll armor, it might swap me back to Darkspear for a little while on my druid.
Yeah,
just for funsies.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, I think we all know the Draenei armor is probably going to slap. I don't know. Draenei stuff, at least in my opinion, always super cool. Just the gems, the plate, the floaty bits. It'll be cool. I'm just really curious.
Big Paladin vibes from it. Yeah.
Well, in Legion, Colton came back for literally, or I don't remember if it was Legion. It was when the Lightborn or Lightforged Draenei were finally had their heritage armor. He actually came back for a week just to level one up with me to get the armor. That's the only reason I have the armor, because we both leveled something at the same time. But yeah, it is. I don't think there's a bad set that on the Draenei. Their body proportions really work too for that large pauldrons and the headpieces and that sort of thing, particularly ones that don't cover up their horns and other top head
cranial accessories.
Accessories. There we go. So I will be interested to see, and I actually don't have a regular Draenei, so
yeah, neither do I. So no.
Do I have a regular troll? One. I
don't think I have a regular troll anymore. I moved over.
I did it for like 6 years, 8 years.
I did my time.
Yeah.
All right, so so I guess I'll ask you guys. I know we kind of skipped over the Harbinger quests. We'll probably not a lot of information out on those. If you guys could pick one of the holiday events for them to change, which one do you think it's going to be? Or which one would you like to see, even if it's not during the spring/summer? Like, just what one do you think could use some love?
Oh, this one is for summer, but I think Midsummers needs some love.
Mm-hmm.
Midsummer Fire Festival.
I think I'm in agreement. I mean, it's happening at the same time, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they won't update events out of season. I think they've already done that.
Yeah.
But like the Yahuan dungeon feels like nothing. You know, I feel like they I feel like they could make it better. Like there are people who are going in there who have never been inside
slave pens
ever, and are just like, yeah, this is a cool dungeon. Wow, crazy! They put up this whole dungeon just for this one boss.
Yeah, I've seen people do that. They're like, they made this whole place just for him.
Yeah, yeah, sure, buddy.
Summer child.
Yeah, because it's all it's all Burning Crusade assets in there, so it's like
it's all triangles.
Yeah, it's all triangles
all the way down.
Yeah. So I think Midsummers could use some love.
I would love to see what they would do with the Children's Week. Primarily because they've been putting so much more focus on battle pets, and that is something that you get a lot of battle pets. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the achievements, is getting the battle pet that you would get each year over like a 3-year period before they were all shared among your characters.
Yeah.
So that would be a perfect opportunity, since they have a 2,000 battle pet achievement in the game now, to give us more battle pets. So I'll gladly take that. Star would be happy. She likes those cute battle pets.
Yeah, but more than 2,000 thing.
Oh yeah. I think I'm like at 1450 or something now, so I've got a little bit of room to go.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm at. It doesn't matter. I don't collect.
All right,
pets
so
for collecting. I collect them. They're cool.
Glitch, did you have a holiday in mind?
Yeah. Did you say also?
I think I'm in agreement with Midsummer. To be honest, I think it's the right time. It does need an update. You're right. My only concern is they take some of the XP stuff away from it, which I don't think they're gonna do. So probably not even a concern. It's probably fine.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
All right, so I skipped it, but we'll come back to it to talk about it in long form. So we have time running, not walking, but we are running in Pandemonium, spelled very interestingly. So, we kind of talked about this before we started recording. So it's not time walking, it's running. So, and they've been hyping it up pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Over on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
So when you guys see, and we'll start with Glitch, when you saw time running Pandemonium, what did you think, and what do you hope to get from it?
So I thought, for the most part, what most everybody else thought, which was, hey, this is probably going to be the challenge, the return of the challenge modes, right? I don't know if that's going to be correct or not. I would personally be happy with that, even if that means a return to some dungeons that I don't love. but I never did a challenge modes, so it would be interesting. There is definitely, well, not definitely. It seems like there is something more, though, and I hope it's. If that comes out and they're like, yeah, you get to go back to the Timeless Isle. Get me out, dude.
Jeff said I couldn't go back there.
Get me out. Oh my god.
No, me and Greeley have a pact that we're not allowed to go there.
Yeah.
Unless we have to do it secretly.
I don't. I have a pact with myself. Just to never go back there.
There was 1 week where I saw Zaft over there. He was just turning in the token to get us.
That's all I was doing.
To get the 500. But I immediately was like, Zaft, what are you doing on the Timeless Isle?
I was like, I'm leaving.
What are you doing?
I'm leaving.
Like, I'm leaving. I'm like, you better be.
I'm not staying around. Because it just starts with, it's like, oh, all right, let me just go check on this one rare. And you just start off, you go over to Gucci the freaking dude, and you're like, all right, oh, let me check and see if this guy's up. Oh, let me check to see if this guy. Let me check to see if this guy. And by the time you've made it all the way back around, you're already back to saying, oh, let me go see if that guy respawned.
Well, I'm already here. It could have been
and you just keep doing rounds until you die. You get stuck there. It's like being stuck in Jumanji. Somebody has to roll the right dice to get you out of the Time Lost Isle.
Yeah. I mean, Timeless Isle, they named it perfectly. More like time lost, but
I'm lost.
Time waste style.
yeah.
I'm running Pandemonium, so I tend to agree with the fact that it's like, okay, we're bringing back challenge modes, we're bringing back the Pandaria challenge modes. I almost want to go in a different direction and be like, all right, they're gonna set up some sort of marathon based, running system where it's like, all right, you're gonna queue up for this thing, or you're gonna go in as a group, and it's like, all right, how fast can you do, like here's like the list of Pandaria dungeons that are in the rotation, right? So, let's say it's, these 4 dungeons. How fast can you do those in sequence, right? So you're just gonna go in, start in, let's say it's Storm Stout, and then it's like, cool, run through, get to the end, talk to the NPC. Now you're doing Temple. Run through, just like you're doing like an M plus, right? You're pulling stuff, going quickly. Now you're an MSP. Go run through. Shadowpan Monastery. Go. Cool. You did all of that in, let's say, half an hour or something, 40 minutes, right?
That would be interesting.
And it's like, all right, cool. Now you like, that's it. That's a really like almost more marathon based.
So you're taking the time running seriously by name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like really,
What if to add to that idea, because I actually really like it. What if to play on the Pandemonium side of things, it is parts of Panda dungeons. So you get to Temple, you get to Wise Mari, kill him, a portal opens, you're in the second area of Siege. You go through the second area.
Ooh. So that could be a way where you get around the bad. Yeah. That could be a way you could get around the bad bosses of some of the. Like, so basically, you only do like the first boss of Siege, for example, which isn't that bad. It's not super buggy, even though it's a bug. Yeah.
In the podcast.
Sorry. Well, see you guys. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.
That would be amazing, though. Where it's exactly right. Where you're like, you start off and then you're over here, and then you're over here, and then you're over here. Sign me up for that.
That'd be cool, yeah. And like, let's say each week has like a different, set of sections, something like that. I don't know. Just riffing on random stuff at this point, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But I think we're all kind of like in agreement that something Miss of Pandaria flavored, though.
Sure.
Because of the Pandemonium.
Or the biggest red herring. Here it is.
They would never do that.
BC dungeons.
It's BC dungeons. Honestly, I'd be fine with that too. If they just give me an expansion's worth of dungeons to just, I don't know, chain run or just do ridiculous stuff in, that'd be cool. When's the last time we guys did Arcatraz, Like, imagine just being like, all right, now you guys have to do last boss of Arcatraz again. Surprise! And then...
I mean, the Bronze Dragonflight is as current as it's going to ever be, at this expansion, to where, let's do it. And Pandemonium sounds exactly like something Chromie would call it. Just that's how that works.
We're gonna be doing like just regular dungeon, and it's gonna be like we're like teleported into like Shadowfang Keep, except all of our characters are now pandas, and she's like, "What's going on?" And it's like, all right, well, that's it.
That would be it. Or they will add an affix called Pandemonium, and then just like nonsense happens. You have to do some of these dungeons drunk because you're a panda
with the drunk effects on.
Oh god.
Completely blurred out.
Then you have to go. Peppers. So, I'm not sure what I think it's going to be. Obviously, challenge modes, makes sense. And I think I am the only one of us 3 that did challenge modes, right?
I didn't.
I think so.
Okay. So I am somebody who has the challenge mode mounts and the gear. Do I want other people to have that, even though I did it 5 expansions ago and like 10 years ago at this point? Does it devalue all the hard work that I put in No.
Yes, get wrecked, everybody else.
No, yes,
Could you imagine
he
was like,
absolutely.
Absolutely, I hate this. No, like, so that's one of the biggest things. So I am somebody who the number one question I get on my videos, more than anything else, is, bro, where'd you get them shoulders? Seriously, it is. I field the question literally weekly. And it's always people want to know where I get my shoulders, which is a part of the Hunter Mog from challenge modes. And I have a literal copy-paste response saved on my phone to just send these people, hey, thanks for checking out the video. Unfortunately, that's from the challenge modes, no longer attainable. Sorry, there's a recolor in Legion without the head on one side, and then I send them the link. Literally saved on my phone. It's on Notepad. So I get that question all the time. I don't see it very often, and as a hunter, there are not a lot of amazing hunter sets. There's just really not. Yeah. And so for me, I don't use the full set anymore. I've augmented pieces over the years. I've added to it. I still think it's an amazing set, and I would love to see more hunters have it. Yeah, it would. Would I feel bad? Like, oh, I did all this hard work, and I played the content, the expansion, when the content was available, so that should be my reward. No, my reward is having it for the last 10 years. Like, I've got to enjoy it for 10 years.
Your
like,
reward is answering YouTube comments for the last 10 years.
Yeah. Where, like, all these people that are upset that, oh, well, I paid $2,000 for this TCG mount, and then somebody just got it for, subbing to some dude on Twitch and watching 4 hours. I'm like, yes, that does really suck. I can't believe you spent $2,000 on it. But you got to enjoy it for all this time. You've got to enjoy it. And does somebody else having your item devalue it for you? If it does, then you don't care about the item.
No.
You just care about the status.
Yeah, you just care about the status at that point. Would I love to see more hunters with my Mog? Oh yeah. Heck yeah. Please. Would I like to see more people use the panda, or not? They're not panda mounts, but they are the what are they? I think Phoenix. Would I like to see more people have those? Yeah, but will I ever see anybody on them? Absolutely not, because they don't look that good. But they're a +1, 2, 3, and I know a certain somebody that would want those +1, 2, 3s. So, I would be perfectly fine with that. I would like to see, I don't know, some sort of, this is where there's gray area. I would like to see some other reward, I guess, for me, who had already done it, but I don't want it to be such a big deal where everybody else feels terrible about it. Even if it's just another feat of strength, saying that I did classic challenge modes.
Yeah.
I mean, I already have that technically with the portals and that sort of thing, but let's just give me let all you guys have the portals back by doing the event. Do whatever you want, and then give me a title or something. I guess people would complain about that too, because I want the title.
Yeah, but people are gonna complain about it no matter what.
That's true.
Yeah.
So if you want,
you could do it in such a way that if, like, all right, you're a hunter, you already have the hunter set, cool, you did challenge modes again, cool, here's your token that says you can get one of any set from any class. You just send this to whatever class, like, this is a bind on account thing. Yeah. It unlocks whatever other class you want, done. Maybe not great if there's somebody out there, because I guarantee there's somebody out there who's like, well, I ran it on all the characters, so what do I get? And it's like, you get to say that you ran it on all the characters, bro. You already won the game.
Mog for 10 years.
You already won the game. You did it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing it right now. I don't know, but that's only if they do challenge modes again. If they give away challenge mode rewards for, like, what is essentially like a semi-glorified or silly time walking, I don't know, like I'll be excited because I'll be getting mounts and gear and stuff, like, hey, like, that's cool for me, but, like, I can understand people being like, come on, I did challenge modes, and this kind of stuff is, like, it's not equivocal, right?
Well, the only way that they would actually devalue the gear is if it's just hey, you get in, and they basically just give it out for free.
Yeah.
Like have something that you have to do. and make it maybe it's not right on par with challenge modes, but don't just make it like do your 10 time walks and here you go. You know what I mean? Like actually keep the difficulty fairly high, or not everybody's going to do it, but if you put in the time, you'll probably get it. I definitely think, and put in the maybe not the time, the effort. Actually get in there and do it. That would be fine. I do think that it's going to be challenge mode-esque, which will then open the door to those old Mage Tower colors, like weapon colors that are no longer in the game.
That's my concern. I want them to do what they did with the Mage Tower, but also have the old stuff. I don't see why it can't be both.
Yeah.
I just don't. And that includes Druid forms. Before anybody comes at me with, Druid main. And also, I mean, hey, Evoker needs some love too in that department.
True.
Yep.
Demon Hunters.
We're gonna get one of those.
Could get something cool as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Flight.
What?
Looking out for your nerf.
I noticed halfway through the podcast you talked about flying. Thanks. So yeah, I do think it'll be something along the lines of the challenge modes. If they do bring back those challenge modes, I will then request them to return to Warlords of Draenor challenge modes, because I did not do that. So that would be interesting. And they've have a pretty good track record recently of allowing us to have this old content or these old items that are no longer attainable, with more like with mounts, but they're just making things. They're bringing things back into the fold. They're bringing back patterns and stuff like that. Yeah, that were removed. Mog pieces that were removed. Bringing them back where you have to do a little quest line. You want to go back to old Nax, even though it's in new or like current Nax. Fine, but here you have to do this, this, and this. And you have to do, you want to get the ZG crafting. Okay, great, but you have to do this sort of thing. I appreciate making players who want the items, which are going to be mostly players like us. If you want those old things you missed, great, but you got to do a little work to do it.
Yeah.
And for me, that's not a big deal, because I'm going to do it. Because that sort of thing interests me. Yeah. So as long as it's something along that vein where you're just not handing them out, I am 100% for it, and I can't wait to get my weapon from Warlords of Draenor challenge modes.
Oh yeah, that gun that kind of like opens or whatever. I think it's sick.
So that was the thing. The only reason I didn't do challenge modes, because I could have just bought them on Illidan. When I came back, when you guys came back for Legion, and I was still on Illidan at that point, I could have bought all the challenge modes as like a boost or a carry. I didn't, but it was because I had my weapon Mog. I'm like, I'm going to use the Black Bow of the Betrayer. I don't need another Mog. So then I didn't get one. And plus the Marksman Mog was terrible. It was like a wood bow that was like flowery. It didn't look very good compared to the Beast Mastery gun. So I will definitely be interested to see what's going to happen. And if that is something that is coming back, challenge modes, you best believe that all three of us are going to be in a group, plus two others, and we will make sure and get as many people that as possible. So definitely stay tuned for that. Maybe we could do that live. I think that would be kind of fun. No pressure on us, but you're like, yeah,
sure, why not?
All right. So I did kind of skip over a little bit on the bottom side. So we do have War Within Alpha and Beta that are going to be available. It says Alpha is going to be within whenever this pirate thing happens is when that's happening.
Yeah, really.
And I will be at least checking out the Alpha as well as the Beta, and I did give them my money so I can get into it. I didn't do it for that reason, but it was a perk. Yeah, I know. So I'll be doing stuff Marksman Hunter related. I'm hoping that Marksman is going to see some sort of rework, because without borrowed power, Marksman is not in a very good spot. Just straight up, if you don't have a good tier set or you don't have something augmenting your damage, we're just not that good.
Augmenting.
You got what I was putting down there?
Oh yeah.
So that does lead us into the next expansion, which is going to be World of Warcraft War Within, which was first talked about at BlizzCon not so long ago, which, by the way, we have not finished talking about BlizzCon. We might do that. We might just forget about it. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I know. That's
yeah.
that's the lost episode. That's the real.
That's the lost episode that we kind of forgot about as well. Anyway, War Within is going to be the next expansion. It's going to be 11.0, and with it comes a myriad of things that you expect with a brand new expansion. But the pre-patch, they have some world events that they haven't really talked about. The war bands will be out in full force
for the war bands.
Definitely. As someone who how many characters did they say could be in a war band? Is it like 5? Did they put a number on it?
All of them.
Oh, is it all?
So
even better.
So I believe what they said about that is the display that you get is a couple of characters.
Yeah.
But your warband is your character roster. Full
beautiful.
stop. Maybe server specific or something like that. But even some of that stuff is crumbling away as we speak, right? So
right.
But it was something, that's something to that effect.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're talking about just below that as well, because we have warbands, dynamic flight, and then also guild updates. And those guild updates, the only logical update left to them is having cross-server guilds. And I'm pretty, truly cross-server, not just on your cluster. That will be definitely cool, because we, over the last few years, granted this expansion, a lot of those players have been coming to Zangarmarsh to join the guild proper, but we have players from all sorts of servers. And factions, exactly. Like we have players that were only Alliance, and you can't raid with us. Well, now you can, and they have been like pillars of our raid team. And now we can have people that feel like they're actually a part of our guild, even though they're over on Whisperwind, or they're over on, I don't know, some other server. Moonguard, there we go, yeah. So,
look at you, Fenwig.
Moonguard.
Who would play on Moonguard, Fenwig?
We appreciate our Moonguard friends. Let's not hate on them in our podcast. We appreciate them very much.
She knows I love her.
I'm just saying, we're giving her junk now, but she's going to be the first one to get the legendary, and then she's going to just absolutely wreck us in DPS. Just saying.
Yeah.
So, cannot wait for that. And you heard it here first, even though... Yeah, did we actually pick who... Oh, I said Oddwin. Never mind. But
you guys said Oddwin.
Fenwig, you're my pick now. You're going to get it.
Should update it on the Google survey.
Right. Put the survey out. Hey, fill my survey out.
Honestly,
I can put that out on your Discord just to see, be like, hey, like, who do you think is gonna get it? Because right now I think Oddwin is winning in votes. Last I checked. So I'll post it up in at WoW on your Discord, and people can fill it out.
See what they say.
Is it a good portent or a grim one, Oddwin?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Find out next time.
And kiss curse,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that is true. But all that is going to be for the pre-patch, which is going to be here sometime during summer. So when we are enjoying the revamped Fire Festival or Midsummer's Festival, we are going to also be knee-deep in pre-patch shenanigans. Mm-hmm. So I thought the pre-patch for Dragonflight was pretty cool, going back to those old areas. So it'll be interesting to see how they integrate that. Maybe this retaking Gilneas back in Seeds of Renewal could have something to do with getting us down into the War Within content.
Yeah,
never know.
Yeah.
No, that would be cool.
Honestly, of that slice of the roadmap, I'm really hoping guild updates means a lot of guild updates. I feel like just guilds in general just need something. Like from tweaks to bug fixes to just more stuff. I don't know what stuff, but just more interactivity.
Bring back Have Group Will Travel.
If you give me some guild housing,
that would be very cool.
That'd be awesome.
Well, I would like, if nothing else, the game has changed so much since they added guild perks. So granted, a lot of those perks have been taken away, which some of them were pretty strong. But give us some more guild perks. Give people a reason to have a guild that's not their bank guild.
Yeah.
Like, give us a reason to, give us more rewards, even like physical rewards, mounts. They have a plethora of, even if it's just a recolor. Like, I don't know about you, but that Dark Phoenix, I was pumped when I got that thing. I absolutely loved it. Give us more customizations too.
Getting that Phoenix is one of my most treasured memories because we did it as a guild.
Mm-hmm. Like or like just guild customizations in general, where like the crests, those I don't think have changed option wise. Like, just if you want to have a different design for your guild, I think it's pretty much been the same. I don't know that they've added any new items. I mean, we've been the Rising Sun for quite some time.
I haven't looked at that in years, but that's the point. There's not been anything to look at.
Yeah.
I would love to see them update the way that the guild earns money, because right now it's like, oh, you do, what is it, how many raid kills as a group, and like your guild gets like 1,500 like gold. Yeah. If they either uncapped that or made that better to be like, all right, a level equivalent, you do it as a guild, you get money reward. So that way it's like, all right, like we only have to do 3 Mythic Plus dungeons. Like, we have to do 7 dungeons.
So I just thought about
battlegrounds.
And this would be very interesting. What if they upped the gold that you received from doing said events, whatever it may be, but they lock it so it's not gold, but it's gold only usable for repairs. Like, for guild repairs. So, for example, the guild itself isn't making actual, like, let's just say we max out every week, we're making like 40 grand worth of gold or whatever, right? And then at the end of the week we take that money out and now it's our money or whatever. Where, like, even if you just have it set to where it's only usable for guild repairs. So if your guild is active and doing things, that means your repair bill is going to be very active as well. And boom, it just starts to pay for itself. So you don't have to worry about repairs when you're doing guild activities. I think that would be kind of cool.
It would have to be that way because I think they're trying to avoid introducing kind of gold farms. Eternal, evergreen gold farms. So
because that's why they took away there was a guild perk that was like a percentage of the gold that you got from killing monsters was just guild bank, like automatic.
Yeah, it was 5 and 10%.
Yeah, so it was busted.
Bots
like
with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, no, that's actually a great idea, and you can even expand on it, right? So let's say you have just like, I don't know, call it guild credits, right? And it's the exact same thing, and it's the exact same ratio or whatever. And maybe you even have like a vendor, and that guy has potions and files and whatever, raid kazuos, whatever. And they are soulbound, can't get them on other characters that are not out of the guild or that are not in the guild. And you spend it on repairs and on that.
Make like guild bound items and stuff, you know what I mean?
And you can only buy those at the vendor that's in your guild housing.
All right, we brought it full circle. Great job, guys.
Yep. I mean, like, guild housing doesn't have to be crazy either. They've shown that they can make a garrison-sized plot and let it it's not super customizable, but you can build whatever buildings you want or whatever. You guys can come into my garrison if I invite you. Why not just have it set up to where this is Drexit's garrison, even though it's obviously not a garrison, but you can come in there assuming you're in the guild. So give us a Hearthstone, it can be a toy or whatever. Give us a Hearthstone that goes to our guild garrison or housing, and boom, you can walk around there and I'm hawking my goods per usual, or Glitch is getting asked to make gems and then multi-crafting like 5 of them. Just normal stuff like that.
There was
I definitely think that could work.
So City of Heroes, which was the MMO I played before playing WoW, way back when, they had like guild housing, so you could have a super group base. So they had super groups, which were guilds, and then you could make a base. And those were literally just like instance zones. You rolled up to, like, you rolled up to, like, there was a way to access your supergroup house from a lot of the main hubs that you could roll up, and it would be like, you want to enter your supergroup house? And you'd be like, yeah. And you walk in, and all that it was like a blank space that the guild leader like kind of arranged, so they would put on the layout, and it was like one dimensional, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like, they weren't like staircases or anything, right? It was just one dimensional. But what they could do is they could put like stuff on the wall and stuff like on the ground that was accessed and like makeable by the guild leader after the supergroup as a whole did something. So if it was like, so like there are achievements that are like, oh yeah, do like 1,000 quests, and it's like, oh, we get an achievement. But there was also like, for I think for like supergroups, it was like, as a supergroup, kill 5,000 Hellions, which was like a subgroup of, of villains, right? Kill 5,000 Hellions, and it's like you got like a little like pedestal that had like a Hellion mask on it, and it was like, oh, that's like a cool cosmetic thing. So like they like, I don't want to say like
the garrison monuments
technology,
thing.
yeah. But yeah, and it was like a little way more freeform. Like, it wasn't like, here's the only place you could put a monument. It was like you could place stuff wherever. But it was also like, if you did enough quests or you did like enough missions, you could also unlock things that were actually like things that were practically usable. So like there was stuff that like, oh, you could buy enhancements from this vendor bot, after doing this many quests. So like there were practical things that you could get, and I think that they can do that for guild housing.
Well, they've also shown too, like, for example, when you go over to the mage tower, if I go over there as a hunter, it looks completely different, like just stuff around, than if the demon hunter rolls up, or if a druid is there. They've already shown that they can do that even from like a personal perspective. So we could go to everybody could almost have their own garrison, like player housing or guild housing look. So it could look different to me, and they've shown that they can already have it at least look different. Like, you go in the same area, but it looks different to different players based on their class. Well, you should be able to do it based on the player. I don't know how difficult that would be, but I definitely think that could be a something that they could try to start tackling at least.
Yeah, my immediate comparison to this would be Warframe. Warframe's dojo system is not perfect, but it incorporates a lot of those ideas. It's essentially guild housing, but it's fully modular, completely modular. Like, your guild's dojo can be just a room with the things that are useful in it. That's it. Gray walls, gray floor, nothing. Or it could be the dojo that Alan, shoutouts to Alan, has worked extremely hard in whenever him and I play Warframe, which has just insanity. Just, if we ever get a guild hall and it has like, it can be expanded and decorated, Alan's in charge of that. He will make it insane. Trust me. It's going to look awesome. No doubts. Full trust on that. But yeah, that's like, that would be my comparison. I think they do it pretty good, and I would love something like that.
That would definitely be cool, and that could be something that would really carry a pre-patch too.
Oh yeah.
Like, that would be huge.
Can you imagine if they put that in? They're like, oh, you want some cool like Lich King customizations? Go kill the Lich King as a guild.
Go do Lich King.
You want this Warlord stuff? Do these unique achievements or whatever.
Well, I mean, they've already got the achievements, guild achievements in the game. So like, give us a reason to do the more oddball ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Done. Like how this is something that I have struggled with. So there's a couple achievements in Mists Pandaria in Mogushon Vaults that you need 10 players to get the achievement for, right? They took it out of the meta, nobody cares, that sort of thing. I unfortunately care. So like, it would give the guild a reason to be like, hey, let's go get 10 people, let's go do this stuff, let's go kill these bosses, because they give they give you achievements as a guild, and then we get these other achievements at the same time that Tyler wants. Like, it's great.
I'm still missing
it would give people a reason. It's always comes back to me. Yeah, but it gives you a reason to go do this older content. That if you weren't a guild in Mists, why the hell would you go to Mists as a guild and do something that you can solo? Give us a reason to go with our friends.
We've done it sometimes.
And do it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not as prevalent as it could be if there was a reward involved.
Yeah, for sure.
Instead of just saying, plus 10 points to our guild achievement points that don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what they have for pre. What you gotta say something?
I don't know what.
I was gonna say that's pretty much what they have for pre-patch. It's very bare bones because world events, but it's probably gonna be earthen dwarven-esque.
Yeah, world events.
Just like
the pre-patch kind of. There's stuff going on. Run around and get it.
Yeah. The elemental storms will be happening. Only it's gonna rain dwarves.
But we're gonna hear in there.
Champions!
The wounds!
The wounds!
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. I know somebody else who is definitely looking forward to the 11.0 official patch because somebody can play as Earthen.
I can be a dwarf again. I get to be a dwarf.
Where are you?
I've been slowly trying to get everybody used to the idea of seeing Zaft as a dwarf.
Is that what you've been doing? You've been inoculating the raid group? I thought you were doing it for fun.
I do it for two reasons. One is
small character model.
Yeah, so one of it is just me getting myself used to it because there are some fights where I've definitely lost myself, even though I'm the guy with the big shield. But specifically on fights where it's like, oh man, Cowbow turned me into a duck. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a duck now, and I lose myself, right? So it's partially for me, but then it's like the amount of times that we've told people like, hey, don't stand on tanks, watch out, tanks are slow, look out for tanks. He's a giant he's glowing, he has the most enormous shield, watch out for him, like don't be on top of him. And then for like the next expansion to be like, yep, now he's a dwarf. He's a
dwarf now.
So I've been trying to do it in raid. I've been definitely doing it in Mythic Plus for not just that, but then also like, smaller model for like Waycrest and Uldaman has really
Uldaman was huge.
Uldaman really helped.
Or was it small?
It was too strong. It was too small.
I'll see myself out. Thanks
but that is what I have been doing. Yeah, I've been slowly inoculating the raid to get them used to seeing me as a dwarf.
All right, well,
that's fair. So we don't have too much information on the War Within. We'll get more of that when we hit Alpha and Beta. But we have, obviously, your staples. We have new PvP. We're going to have a new raid, 8 new dungeons. 8 is pretty much the correct number anymore. Like, they're going to do 8, and there's probably going to be a mega dungeon associated with eventually. That's pretty much been the formula as of late, but I think it's worked. It gives you a varied number of dungeons, and they'll probably end up doing, at least with Mythic Plus, bringing some of those older dungeons back into the fold. It'll be interesting to see when we get to War Within. We kind of talked about it off of recording. Like, how are they going to tackle some of the affixes? Are we going to get new affixes? Is it not like a seasonal, but are we going to get new affixes and more of them retired, like bolstering?
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, are we going to get Sanguine to go away and we're going to get replaced with something else? The 11.0 is the perfect time to try some new ones. And something that we kind of talked about as well, would they ever re-implement, and I wanted to talk about it earlier and I kind of forgot about it, would they ever re-implement some of those older seasonal affixes as a normal affix in the rotation? So instead of Sanguine, you now have Reaping. And Reaping is just an affix that you deal with.
I still think that if there's a season to try it, to try something new, it's to do it in season 4. I think that if they wanted to, that they could just be like, all right, all the other old affixes gone, right? Keep your fortified tyrannical. I think that those are good alternating staples. I truly do. I don't even think the values need to be changed that much. Some people might seriously disagree with me. But then be like, all right, on the rotation, it's gonna be fortified, and then we're gonna have reaping and I don't know, shrouded, right? And those are your 3 affixes. That's it, right? And then the next week it's gonna be tyrannical, but it's gonna be I don't know, awakened and I don't know, beguiling. I don't. I'm trying to think of like the good ones, but
no,
I keep.
I got your back. I got your back, Seth. I got
No,
your
no,
back,
no.
Seth.
I couldn't think of a good one.
Here we go. Here's the God combo. Okay, you ready?
Here's the God
Fortified, reaping, prideful.
And that's what I was trying to avoid. Is like have like
Every
prideful and
25%, the dungeon explodes.
The dungeon just goes. You have 10 seconds to kill that prideful ad before everything swarms you.
If you want to be able to do 14s or higher, you just need to buy a brand new computer. And they'll just do giveaways with Alienware, get some Dells, some CyberPower PC, whatever you want to give them out. That would be fine. I would really like to see a reaping affix again. I thought that was a tier where we did not do a ton of Mythic Plus as a guild. That was for you guys that did not play BFA. That was season 2 of BFA. Every time, was it 20 or 25%? Was it 25?
It was 20. It was 20 for both.
Okay, so every time you killed 20% of the ads on your force counter, the ghosty boys of those 20% rushed you. They would everything got dark, and then 3, 2, 1, hordes of lemmings come running at you, and they wasn't too crazy. You could see them, you could do all this other stuff, but it was quite the sight to see all these ghosts just rushing you, and they would get stuck around the corners,
paying attention to count, and you would just be like, all right, and you killed one bug, and it knocked you from 19 into 20, and you're taking on this pack of 6 dudes, right? And then all of a sudden you just see a wall of nameplates coming around the corner, and you're like,
no. The best part was the ghost would hit each other. They would, and then they would also not go around, if they're all going around a corner, and the corner I'm thinking about is just before the first boss of Siege of Borealis. So all the guys from the underwater or the caverns area, not caverns, canal area. There we go. And you go up the stairs, you kill some guys that are on this first platform, and then there's all of these humanoids that you're fighting before the first boss. And you would literally, all these hordes of guys would come around the corner, and then there'd be these stragglers because they would just get stuck around the corner, or they would have unit collision as they're trying to go around because there's so many of these ads. And it was quite the clown car of just absurdness, where they would you okay, I've killed all these guys, and then 3 seconds later you hear hey, wait for me, and they come running in afterwards,
and then the prideful spawns.
No, but
reaping is definitely one I think could be an affix in the rotation.
I think they could bring back reaping. Obviously we don't want to see infested or beguiling, because those are the 2 worst. But everything else I think is fine. Thundering was tough, annoying if anything, for pugs, but tormented was whatever. Reaping was cool. Prideful was cool. Awakened changed a lot of our pathing, and then encrypted and shrouded just felt like massive power gain.
Yeah. Well, again, we talked about this the other night off of recording, but I would love to see shrouded as a normal affix.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't have to be dreadlords. Whenever we did Shadowlands, they did say that brokers are everywhere, even though we didn't know that until Shadowlands. And then we got to see a lot of examples of people that were actually brokers. Why not have something like that? It doesn't have to be Shadowlands, it doesn't have to be brokers, it doesn't have to be dreadlords, but it would be interesting to have high priority targets as you're going through a dungeon, and when you kill them, let's say they're harder than normal, and they change from week to week. But when you find them, you do get that power gain, and it's not going to change your routes immensely. Make it, enemies that you're probably going to kill or close by, and you pull them into your route. I would be completely fine with that, and I would much rather have Shrouded or Reaping than Sanguine or Bolstering, for example.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they don't have to be like big and bad affixes like they were supposed to be for a seasonal affix. Maybe you lowered them a little bit, but they weren't overwhelming. They gave you some thought about how you were doing your runs with like the every 20% threshold. And then you also had to think about, oh, well, this guy is going to be harder than normal, but we want to bring him into this pack because he's going to give us 2% crit or 3% crit or whatever like that. And it doesn't change. It's not game breaking in the sense that it changes your entire outlook on a dungeon. So your average players could, oh, I'm not going to go get that one because that's going to be harder for us, but later on we'll get these 3 guys instead for Shrouded. Yeah. Or for Reaping, we get to, let's say it's every 40%. So it's 40, 80, and then at 100. Or just something like that. Or I would say every third, but that would also be weird because you don't see like 0.13 percentages in the normal counter, and without having an add-on. But just like maybe you don't do it every 20%, but you do it every 25 or every 40 or 50, maybe half the dungeon and then at the end. Mm-hmm. Although half of a dungeon's worth of ads on some of these dungeons might be a little much for people's CPUs, but.
So maybe not that much, but I, long story short, I think we would like to see some of the old seasonal affixes applied as either some form of standard affix moving forward, or just see it. I mean, for like a season to just see them like just do something cool with them, just to see how people fare. You know what I mean? If you put that out there and you just overloaded people with just like, hey, we're wiping we're wiping these affixes, we're only doing seasonal affixes, and then man, like the big key pusher pulls that will come out of watching, like, I don't know, like an encrypted thundering week, like that would be nutso. Like, just cool, right?
Honestly, I'd even be okay with them revisiting some of the ones we don't like, right? Like if they tinker with them, like wasn't Infested the first seasonal?
Yeah, the first one.
And it it has the telltale signs of it being like very experimental.
Yeah.
Come back to it with all the extra knowledge that they now have. I'm sure it turns out to be at least decent something,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like same thing with Big Island, even though Big Island was later, but still.
Beguiling was only the third one.
Yeah.
So they're still learning things about them.
And Reaping was pretty low. Like low effect, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't.
Yeah, it was just like 20%. You get a bunch of ads that show up on you. You burst those all down. Cool, moving right along. Like there wasn't much to it. Which is why it's a little higher. But like,
it's like, fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was fun and engaging, which is why I rank Reaping in my mind higher than Tormented, which like that gave us power creep, but it was so boring.
Yeah.
I probably don't, but I feel like Torment just had a little bit more of option select that you could do. If you chose to like leave a mob or anything like that. I don't think we ever did almost any of that.
No. Yeah, we didn't.
But we could have. It would have made it more interesting. Ended up not being really necessary. Maybe that was just a tuning issue. But I see what you're coming from, though. I definitely understand.
Maybe a conversation for another episode.
Well, yeah, we could probably go into. Something that I would like to try to do is like tier rankings, just talking about just in general. Forget about like, oh, this is A tier, this is F tier, but like what makes, regardless of what tier it would be in, what makes Awakened a great affix? What makes Beguiling a bad affix? And then like we just talked about, how can you retool it, change it, keep the name, but change it in a positive way to get it to better come across the way you had intended it, other than just to be annoying and to slow you down. Because that's what so many of those early affixes were. They were just there to really slow you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas then you got after that, because I mean, you have those three. Those were the first three affixes. You have Reaping was 2. We had Infested was 1, and Beguiling was 3. And Awakened was 4, and they got that one right. And that one kind of came along, maybe not exclusively, but it was because so many people were running with rogues and doing rogue skips. Well, then they're like, okay, guess what? Now you can have rogue skips or rogue-like skips in your dungeons. But then that just means that the rogue skips also had the Awakened skips, but, whatever.
Yeah.
But
double skipping.
Yeah, double skip for the win. Literally, I remember watching a group do. They went all the way to did Harlan in Freehold, and then basically backtracked because they could.
They're
like, oh, we'll just do it a different way.
That happened in one of like the most recent MDIs for season 2, didn't it? Where they had to change how Harlan works because there were people who were training. They were grabbing Harlan, and then his like cannonball shots do damage to mobs. So they were like, all right, cool. Let's just pull half the dungeon into Harlan and then just drop cannonballs on him, and it worked. And then they were like, actually, we gotta top fix that out of that. Can't happen.
Yeah.
No,
people ruining our fun.
We can't have that happen.
Yeah, that's let's just say Mythic Plus is in a perfect situation if we're going to do another meme season and we have a brand new expansion coming. There is no reason why we either don't get a couple of new affixes or we don't get some affixes going away, like retiring for a while and getting replaced with something that we had previously. It's a perfect opportunity to do that, even if it fails in Season 4, right? Let's just say they decide to bring back Beguiling and it just doesn't work. Okay, fine. But that you have that information, and now you can take that information into the new expansion when you are picking and choosing what you have on the slate for affixes. And it also gives them an opportunity to just try to make a new affix. They've shown that they are willing to make new affixes. Like Entangling is not a bad affix, but boy howdy does it have some bad overlap sometimes for some of these encounters. One of those being in this expansion, this season with Murazan's Rise, where literally, so for example, you have to stand in the orbs. There's 2 orbs. They prioritize ranged if possible.
Yeah, on DS.
Yeah, so I'm the one who stands in one, and then the other one hits. 3, 2, 1, 0, I move. And it's not a big deal. It's not a hard mechanic, but it is if you get stunned right there because the Entangling came out at the worst possible time, and I can't disengage to get back into it. So like Zaft is almost a requirement at that point, and I literally get Hand of Freedom
every time.
Basically every time now. Whoever's doing it,
yeah,
you're getting freedom.
But if you don't have a freedom in the group, then you're kind of boned.
Yeah, you're kind of just going to get stunned there. And I actually don't know what happens if you, as a player, are in that circle when it explodes. Do you guys know?
Nothing.
I actually don't know.
Nothing. It just deals AoE damage. The real danger there is the next set of orbs will be, if not about to spawn, already spawned.
Yeah.
And then at that point, you're toasted. Like, I'm sure there's a technique.
Because the orbs are on a timer through the entire fight, and the quicker you deal with them, the longer you have in between each one. Fun fact: I watched one of Karm's videos, and apparently they just let the 2-stack hit. Like everybody pops a cooldown, and they just let them both hit. Like every other one, and I'm like, but why?
Right.
But it just makes sense where you can just sit there and pump and just don't worry about them at all. I'm like, it's such a nominal change, but
yeah, I guess if you, I don't mean to this is gonna make me sound like a real asshole, but I guess if you have people who can't pump and do mechanics, then yeah. That's not like a dig, but like there are
Yeah,
people who they if they're pumping, their brain is not doing a mechanic, and if their brain is doing a mechanic, they're not focusing on their rotation, and they need that there's that separation. But if you have people who are that they can't do that, then I guess
it makes
that's
sense.
the way to do it.
There had to have been some sort of like meta game behind it that I didn't know about.
Unless you have like some massive healer cooldown to use, like Aura Mastery or Rewind, or but you would have to let like Rewind and Zephyr. That's 2 big cooldowns. No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I'd just do the mechanic. I don't know.
I guess if you don't die to it, we've done things like that where it's
I mean,
like,
we've had it happen, but it's
whatever.
just like an oopsie, or like, for example, on that, just again using that boss as the example, where you have you take out both portal guys on one end, and then the two come out at once, and we always have that bad overlap where we're trying to run, and the orb will be back behind, so one of us has to stay back as everybody else goes. So maybe that one you would be like, no, just let two hit, knowing that, and you have the cooldown, so everybody just keeps running. I think that would be the only one that I would say, hey, okay, this makes sense. But even then, you have all this damage going out, and you go ahead.
But then you get there to the two portal keeper phase with a lot of people on lower health than they would be, without one cooldown when they probably need it the most, because now there's 2 of the dispels going out, and you don't control who they go on. So if you, Greeley, pop your Survival of the Fittest and Exile just to keep yourself alive during the 2 orb hit, you get there without cooldowns, and you are chosen second for dispels, you better get an Iron Bark.
Or I'm dead.
Or GG, right? And you could say, yeah, but the healer pops a cooldown. Okay, fine, sure, but you still now have used that cooldown. If you're worried about damage that much, it's probably tyrannical.
Yeah, you're
goal
going
here?
into the second half of the phase,
What's
which
the goal?
hits the hardest and has the most fancy footwork that you need to go through. If somebody missteps in that phase, there isn't going to be something to save them.
Look, I don't do super high keys. I get into the 20s. I don't do cutting edge keys. So
yeah, we're not pushing 30s. But
so I don't know. I feel like if you do it in a 30, your character gets deleted.
Yeah.
All of a sudden the game becomes hardcore.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Sent back to character.
I'd have to see it. I mean, there's been moments like that, where they just make an ability not matter, but that ability feels like it matters. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it would be different if there was just that ability happened one time, and then you just didn't do it. But it's every what, 30 seconds in that fight?
Something
roughly?
Like that. It's very often.
Yeah. And I mean, the easiest way you combat it is on that one bad overlap.
Yeah.
Just know that all of your ranged run together. It picks 2 of them, and then the person who's supposed to stand there stands there, and the one who doesn't keeps going. Well, and if I have to pop a cooldown to get up to you after it's done, so be it.
We'll just go over this when we do our portal run breakdowns that we'll eventually.
Oh, there we go. That is something that we'd like to try. So who knows? Maybe we can get one of those done sooner rather than later. I think do we all have all of our portals now?
No.
You're missing Everbloom.
I'm missing the band key this week.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, was that last week?
Nah, that was last week. That was last week.
Okay. I think I actually have an Everbloom.
Yeah, no.
All right. That's what we're doing then. But so we just have Everbloom though, and that's the key right now.
For me at least, between the 3 of us, right?
Okay.
Yep.
There's some people I still like to get some portals for, but.
Oh, definitely. And we also need to just get a list by those, so I can be looking out for whenever I get my key every week, and so I don't re-roll their key. But one of the other things for War Within, we have delves, which are going to be like individual dungeons and that sort of thing. That looked exciting. We don't have a ton of information on that from BlizzCon. Obviously, new campaign, all that fun stuff. But we do have this new thing called Hero Talents. And unfortunately for me, I am the only one of us 3 who did not get their spec picked, or class for that matter.
Glitch got both of his.
Yes.
Both of his ones.
Well, there's more trees to come, right, for everybody.
Yeah.
But that being said, oh boy, is it exciting. Some of those Evoker, what is it, Chrono Warden, I think it's called?
Yeah.
Woohoo! Yeah. Give it to me now! It's so exciting. I didn't think they'd be that impactful. I thought they'd be like, plus 10 to damage.
Yeah. Yeah, these are like
boring,
mechanical changes.
Yeah, I get a blink. I get speed boosts. I get functionality changes and stuff. Crazy.
I'm just excited to get more abilities that have shot in the name. So.
Oh yeah.
For Paladin, it definitely makes us it makes us feel more like old Paladin, which is more support based. So
I'm a big fan of that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not knocking it. I'm digging it.
At least disclaimer: Lightsmith does that. Yeah.
So Lightsmith is looking a little bit more support based. I'm giving armaments to people, increasing damage, reducing damage taken, and all that stuff. So that's pretty rad.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what I would see on mine, other than the meme shot thing.
Well, we have the names of the hunter ones, right? Somewhere.
Do we?
I think so.
There was a full list, wasn't there?
Yeah, I believe so.
I must have just completely missed that.
Well, I mean, in between the slurry of information for BlizzCon, because I'm pretty sure that was BlizzCon.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
I can pull up the
Are
whole
you
list.
on it?
So the ones for Hunter were Sentinel, Pack Leader, and Dark Ranger.
Oh yeah, okay, I did know that. Okay, so right away when I hear Dark Ranger, yes,
that's more jobs.
That's going to be Dark Ranger is going to be your survival marksman mix.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. Is that the point where we get more dot spec back?
Maybe
that would be.
That'd be cool.
I was gonna say Black Arrow would be so much fun. Although the whole point of Black Arrow was to proc your explosive shot as well, like your bonus explosive shot procs, for lack of a better term there.
Give you more shot procs.
Well, so we have to also think, and again, my world from the Marksman Hunter lens, Marksman's going to have to see some sort of pretty big change between now and maybe not a full rework, but they really need to iron out what they want to do with Marksman. Really, all three Hunter specs, they're all kind of in a weird position right now. Because, at least for Marksman, and Survival was last expansion, if you don't have your borrowed power, you're not really doing anything. Or if you don't have, your Covenant ability that's going to really augment your stuff, or you don't have a really good tier set, your base kit is got a lot of buttons and it's kind of It's not like anything crazy. So that would help with that, because the hero trees are just a part of, if I'm understanding, or your hero talents, that's something that's always going to be there. It's not just like a War Within thing, from what I understood.
It is meant to be an evergreen feature, yeah.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Going forward, at least for the saga,
Mm-hmm.
So
gotcha.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they will, like, for Marksman, they have all of this old survival dot class that they just have not used. They have all these abilities from Legion and Warlords that were a part of Marksman that are no longer a part of our kit whatsoever. I would think it would be kind of fun to have special, like, if you're going to do a survival Marksman mix, Black Arrow could come into play. Having different ammunition again could come into play. There used to be this one ability that whenever I auto attacked, it would do down like this little volley of damage. Not actually volley, but just like a little bit of AoE damage every time I auto attacked. Just stuff like that bring these fun abilities back into the game and put it in that tree, or give me some more defensives, for the love of God, in that tree.
Or you know what? Forget all that ammo bullshit.
Please.
Forget all that
Never
ammo
mind.
stuff.
I want defensives.
Just have just like a 2-minute. You don't take damage, other than turtle.
Can you make some of these stupid abilities that are in my tree right now that cost points not cost points? Just like, that's the whole tree. That's the hero tree. Here you go. Like, that would be fine.
You'll pick your latent poison 1% and be happy.
It's not even 1.1% for me half the time now.
Oh well.
But I would definitely like to see. I I think they should probably condense the number of abilities I have that do damage. As in, like, I have like 8 or 10 abilities that I'm supposed to be clicking all the time to do all this stuff. And yeah, some of them do good damage, but a lot of them are only doing good damage because my tier set is buffing them currently, like rapid fire.
What's funny is that there's been talk specifically with Prop Paladin, and like they have too many like buff manages, like they have too many buffs that they manage, and they were like, oh, we want to reduce that, but Lightsmith is just more buffs. It's just more
buffs,
and it's all like everything's like short-term buffs. Everything's like below 15 seconds. So it's like here's like, and Prop Paladin does have a lot of them. And then Lightsmith is just more. So I don't know if they're planning on reducing the amount of buff bloat. That's what they've been talking about for a bit.
Yeah, but there's a fair amount of like extension and
oh yeah,
propagation of Lightsmith armaments, I guess.
Yeah. So like I don't think it's an issue, but also I'm excited. It might be something that they're looking at.
The DK tree also has a fair amount of buff management and buff extension.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like maybe they'll reduce it in the actual kit, and then because Lightsmith is coming in, because otherwise that's just more stuff for us to buff manage, which isn't hard. It's part of the rotation, but yeah, still.
It's not hard, but there's a reason why I have a disdain for Inquisition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Keeping Inquisition, and by extension, Savage Roar, keeping that up was, I don't know. I think it's just dependent on the buff as well. Like, for example, it's never bothered me to keep up Roll the Bones.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I think it just depends.
I don't think that much about keeping up like my Shield of the Righteous or Redoubt or nowadays keeping up Consecration. I don't think about that much. But like when I was like playing like a little bit of Rogue, I would always stress out about keeping up Slice and Dice, and that was years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Just keeping Slice and Dice up, and then when Inquisition was brought,
for what it's worth.
Oh yeah. And then when Inquisition was brought over, that was something I like. I remember going like talking about it in BFA and being like, "Hey, like, do you go Inquisition?" And I'm like, "Absolutely not. Fuck this shit. I'm not doing that." Yeah. I'm like, that is too much brain space.
Well, so I have something to a lesser extent, but it's Steady Focus, where you have to keep up that 7% haste buff. Granted, it's not that hard for us because you just cast Steady Shot twice, but you would be surprised how much that ruins a rotation.
Oh, yeah.
Just straight up, it's 2 points in your tree, so you feel like you have to do it. But boy, if it ruins your burst because you want to use it before you do your burst window, but then at the same time, halfway through your burst window, you need to waste 3 seconds to get the buff again. Like it gummed up a rotation. So I would definitely struggle with that. And then you're worried about, oh, what was my uptime on the buff? And then next thing you know, you're playing uptime of buff simulator instead of playing your class.
Even on Beastmaster, it's so easy starting off Beastmaster to just be like, I have barb shot, and just send off all your barb shots and be done with it. And then be like, ah, crap, I lost my crit stack. Like, oops.
So speaking of somebody who's been playing that recently on Velcro, the boss, I really appreciated the fact that there's the one talent that gives you 2 more seconds on that. So instead of it being an 8 second, or it's either 6 to 10 or it's 8 to 10. Those 2 or 4 seconds are night and day. Makes it so much easier to keep that buff stack up, particularly for somebody who doesn't play Beast Mastery.
When Alan came back for this season, he was like, "Hey, did they change something? Because it's super easy to keep up my barb shots now."
Yep.
Particularly
I'm curious.
You have that one talent that gives you barb shot on whatever that
uncrit.
The cooldown is. Oh, is it on crit?
There's a chance. It's a chance on crit. Yeah.
It's like it's genuinely like you really have to mismanage it to drop it, which is nice. There's still a failure state, but
yeah. Do you have the names of the other hunter hero things still?
Yeah.
Talents? Do you still have that open? What was the other 2?
Sentinel and Pack Leader. And Pack Leader, I think, will be your survival Beastmaster.
Yeah, so Sentinel's a weird name, though, to be a marksman Beastmastery. I think of whenever I think of the word sentinel, I think of melee like.
So that one
sounds like sword and board or like spear and board type.
I would put money that sentinel and pack leader are the survival ones.
Yeah. So sentinel might be your marksman. Your marksman and survival, and Dark Ranger is survival. Beastmaster.
Interesting. Okay. I have to figure that
but
out.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're just speculating. So your Chrono Warden though, that's Aug and Prevoker. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then you have Ruby, Add Up, and Scale Commander.
Yep. Scale Commander's the other Aug.
Yeah.
Side.
Do you think that'll be Aug? That'll be Aug to have.
By the way.
Which does sound really cool.
Scale Commander. They all sound badass. I'm excited, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Give it to me now.
It does sound really good. It's funny because like when I looked at Paladin the first time, it was like Lightsmith, Herald of the Sun, and Templar, and I was like, God, Templar that's rad. That sounds really cool.
We don't know anything. We don't know
I know nothing about it.
You're just like,
Templar. Because that's big.
Salivating over it.
Well, when we have like the Paladins together, we're called the Crusade for like that's what they're like. The Crusade's coming out. So like just to be like Templar, and I think that Templar will be Prot Rat. Lightsmith is Prot Holy. I think Templar will be Prot Rat, and I think Herald of the Sun will be Retribution Holy. That's my guess.
Picks.
There's a I think we have the diagram or whatever for Paladin already.
Oh, actually, yeah. Then I'm. Let me see if I'm actually right because I have no idea.
I think you are, but
I am.
Scared me. Wasn't expecting.
Huzzah! All right. You're right.
Well, it does sound like we have a lot to look forward to for War Within, and obviously we'll talk more in long form once we get some more information, particularly when Alpha and Beta show up. Obviously, I'm going to look at things from a marksman hunter lens, but I'm going to be definitely trying out some of these new abilities and lens.
Yeah.
God. Right.
All right. Well, thanks for having me for the podcast. I'll leave.
But the last thing on this roadmap is going to be 11.05, which will be halfway through, roughly. We'll be halfway through that first season, which is interesting that they would already put it on here.
Yeah, it is.
And it's also interesting that the roadmap doesn't have Winter 24. So they haven't got that far out, which is honestly fine. But yeah, already a little mini patch on the table for autumn. If you go by spacing, we're talking like as soon as autumn is here. So like October, boom, here's your new 11.05.
That's supposed to be mid-autumn.
That is
mid-autumn. It's in the M in autumn, so you know.
Yeah. That is the only portion of the roadmap that I have a gigantic issue with.
System updates?
No. The 20th anniversary.
I was gonna say I was getting there.
Because
okay, what's it gonna be? What do we think?
I don't know, but I'm old. That's it.
Yeah.
That's my only issue. Is
incredible.
I read 20th and I said, "Wow, it's been that long, huh?" Oh god,
it's been that long. Yeah. So, when did you start playing Glitch?
Oh, vanilla. All the way back.
Like
not
November
immediately.
04?
Not immediately, no. One of the raid patches, but it was pretty freaking soon afterwards.
So probably 2005.
If not 2005, then late 2004. Yeah.
Okay. And for you, Zaft?
Mine was late 2005 going into 2006.
So I am the youngest in terms of years played. I am the baby of the group. I started in, I know the day actually. I started February 14th, 2007, because my dad bought me World of Warcraft for a Valentine's Day gift.
He's trying to tell you something, or what?
I don't know, but I mean, it worked out. I mean,
yeah, that's
I'm
true.
married now, so it's all right.
Good job.
So
I didn't have the thing to prove.
When I started WoW, It was sometime in 2005. But I do remember I was playing WoW with my brother enough where the Black Friday of 2005, my mother was like, "Hey, we've never done Black Friday before. We're gonna go and we're gonna camp out to get like a really good deal on some computers for you guys." And I think we ended up getting 2 like desktop computers for like the price of one, essentially.
Badass.
It was real good.
Mm-hmm.
My brother wanted a laptop, but like by the time we rushed in there, it
Gone.
was already
Gone.
sold out.
Yeah.
But they had plenty of desktops in these giant boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
And it was but it was cool. We set them up when we yeah. It was a fun time. That's the only reason that I remember that it was like towards the end of the year for 2000. Because I had like just started playing, and then we were like leveling up, and she was like, "Yeah, you guys love this game. Here you go. You guys want some computers?"
I really,
It was a great time.
I would have to do some research because I really do not remember when I started per se. I remember like I've actively participated in some events like when Nax was coming out, when AQ, the opening of the gates of AQ. Like I participated in the sense of I can remember being there and seeing the NPC like give me silk or whatever, and being like, oh, I don't know what that is, but there it is, you know.
Right.
But I don't remember exactly when I started, but that gives you an idea of some of the stuff I've seen, right?
Yeah.
I remember hitting level 60 and then the pre-patch for Burning Crusade dropping.
Oh yeah.
So I remember that much.
So the biggest thing I can remember, so I started in Burning Crusade, so my friend Greg and honestly my friend group had played WoW, but my family actually didn't get internet in our house until November 2006. So I didn't even know what the internet was outside of school. So we literally had like the internet for 3 months to give you an idea. I was on dial-up too, which was just so fun. So fun. But I remember, I believe Black Temple had just come out. Obviously, I had no idea what that was, and I was a different player then than I am now. So like, I didn't know what rating was. I didn't know any of that. I just I stayed in Chatrath and I queued up for AV, and that's what I did. Like that was my whole WoW experience. But I remember the first big thing that I was around for was the opening of the Sunwell. I remember when 2.4 came out, and it was such a big deal. That was actually how I afforded my first flying mount, was by doing dailies with my friend LT there every day. I would get home after work or after school, and I would go. LT would be waiting for me. He was an orc hunter, who I have no idea who he is, and we would go and do our dailies over on the Isle of Quel Danas. So that was pretty cool. That's my earliest memory, I guess you could say. And somehow I got into a Sunwell raid. I don't know why, but I remember doing trash, and I remember dying on Calicgos.
Yep.
And I don't remember how I got in. I don't remember why I got in, but I did. And I remember that. I think I was only like a couple pulls, and then the group disbanded or whatever. But I don't know. That's just
I think
fun.
I think I had the same I think I had the same like interaction with Sunwell where like I don't remember how I got into a group, but I did. But we like wiped on trash going to Galagos, and like somebody was like, "Well, screw this," and like table flipped
through the chair, you know.
Yeah. Disbanded, and I was like, "All right, I guess we're done. Okay."
I remember actually trying to pug Sunwell, and then getting to Brutalis.
Not to Brutalis, though.
Yeah. It wasn't easy to get there. And then once we got to Brutalis, we all quickly realized it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Brutalis, oh boy.
Burning Crusade is where I started raiding, and then where I did probably the most hardcore raiding that I've ever done, which was getting all the way into Tempest Keep and Hyjal on a server that was very low pop. So like it was like there was not a lot of people running it. Like probably at the same time people were clearing Black Temple, So like, but it was hardcore for the group that I was in. They were treating it very seriously, and that was a really toxic time, and there were so many times in my WoW career that I'm like, oh yeah, I really could have turned into a really shitty person at this point. Like I could have turned into a real poop soccer, like I could have been real bad after this, and yeah, no, I got kicked out of that guild, and then I was like, oh great, I was like 14, like raiding with a bunch of 20-year-olds, and they're treating me like shit, like. I should have quit the game at that point, but I didn't because I liked playing with my brothers, and then I found really cool people, and then I just kept finding cooler people, and now I'm here.
Yeah,
just keep finding cooler.
We're after the cool people.
No, we're not a continuation of the cool people.
Yeah,
we're just
it
after.
Stops.
I think it would be kind of cool to have a mini podcast that we can kind of talk about Drexit, how we formed the first time when I wasn't, and Zaft and I weren't apart. My transition into Drexit, which was at that time Eat More Chicken, which I was basically like the Glitch stopped playing the game for a while, but he played his Boomkin. I was maining a Boomkin, and we basically passed like ships in the night, and I basically replaced.
Be a chicken.
Yes, and then. Just like we went away, the guild disbanded. Not necessarily disbanded, just people stopped playing in Mists, and then flash forward to Legion at the very end of Warlords, like a month before Warlords ended, was hey, let's get the band back together. I literally knew like 2 people because I didn't really know Glitch at that time. I knew of him, but I didn't really know him, and then. We're going literally 10 years later now, almost.
Soon.
Yeah, soon 10 years again. I would love to get like just like our WoW story. I think that would be really cool.
I have a lot of the background lore. I have a lot of the background, the stories, the lead up, the
Glitch,
the people that are here, that aren't here, that. Were here, left, and are back. I have a lot of that. That'd be cool. I'd like to do that. But it would not be mini.
It would, yeah.
That's not a mini podcast.
Mini series.
Mini series. Yeah.
So basically, whenever we don't know what we're going to talk about, we'll be like, "Hey, Glitch, you're going to talk about year 4 of Drexit."
Yeah, and we need to. There's some gaps that I have in my. Knowledge that we would need filled in.
It's just going to be me sitting here just like...
I know that.
No, because, see, you get to tell the story of the, how you joined, like, you were doing your own thing, and then suddenly, from the mountaintops, there were some horns sounding, and you were like, what is this? The call of,
Stardust Crusader.
Yeah. And you're like, what is that? I don't know.
It'll be like, all right, all that is going on, and I'll be like, and at the same time, I was in a guild doing this, and my brother got married to a Mormon, and that's an actual true story.
Go on.
Tell us about this Mormon.
Mormons, real Mormon.
But it'll be a lot of fun. And then when, like Glitch said, there are areas where. So, for example, did you play any of Mists?
Barely. Glitch? I started Mists. I think I might have made it to max level, and then just dropped it. And then at the very, very, very tail end, we're talking, I think, maybe like the last 3 weeks, came in. Concocted an insane plan to get the cloak, the legendary cloak, in that amount of time. Got the cloak. Don't ask. And then the patch dropped, and then Warlords happened. And then they were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Boomkin, screw you."
Yep.
Because that happened at the beginning of Warlords, and I was like, "Oh, okay, well." Right back out.
It's very interesting because Mist, so Glitch and I pass like ships in the night. We basically, he's off doing his thing, IRL. I kind of insert boomkin here because we're interchangeable cogs in this machine. Yep. As long as we give our spell buff, that's what matters.
That's right.
So I continue on, and then there's a time where I literally, like, we struggled in Mogashan Vaults, which is the first raid in Mists, and then, I logged in one day, and the guild was gone. So there's some good cliffhanger information for you guys for our next fun
I know
conversation.
Nothing about.
Yeah,
I know
literally,
nothing about that.
the guild is just gone. We are like spread to the wind, and I end up finding myself over on Illidan, and I do some of my highest rating ever. Actually, that was the only time I ever got cutting edge. So that'll be a fun conversation, and it kind of ties into this Mist of Pandaria pandemonium that we're going to be getting here soon. I look forward to chatting with you guys about that. I really hope that challenge modes come back for these two's sake, but for you guys, especially if you guys are marksman hunters or just hunters in general. It's a baller set, and I hope that each and every one of you can get it. Except for you. Yeah, that's right.
You know who you are.
Mm-hmm. You with the hair and the body parts. Yeah. Right. It will be interesting, though. So Siege of Orgrimmar has a lot of its items that are being recolored as well. That's something that we forgot to mention earlier. That could be something where we have another added time walking raid. That could also be it. Like, to be, if a dungeon is walking, a raid would be running. So that could be something that's coming along down the pike.
Sure.
I think you really want to throw people back into Siege after doing it for a year, though.
It was only 16 months.
Only? Yeah.
I did that crap on 4. So if you guys watched my video on how to tame and get the pieces of the Iron Juggernaut mount, first off, thank you. I really appreciate that. I hadn't been in there in 8 years because I did this on LFR, Flex, Normal, and Heroic / Mythic, because Heroic became Mythic in that raid tier.
Yep.
I had literally not been in there in 8 years, and then finally decided to say, you know what, no, I'm going to go back in, and it wasn't such a bad time. And somebody else, might I add, had a real good time there, like last week?
Oh, a long year.
Finally got it.
Heck
Congratulations.
Yeah. Woo! I can't believe that happened.
That day, Glitch was like, Zaft. He's like, I'm thinking about running Siege of Orgrimmar. And he's like begging me to talk him out of it. Like, because Glitch doesn't. He doesn't
do that type of form.
So he's like, I'm thinking of doing it, and I was like, it's the easiest time that it's ever been to run it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you go in there, you just kill Garrosh, that's it. And he was like, that's the only reason that I'm even contemplating. I was like, I mean, I know you, you know you're gonna do it if you want to. And then like, was it that night or was it the next day? He just sends me a message that just says, and it's a screenshot of his paladin getting the mount.
No,
like,
so the thing was,
Iron Juggernaut. I was just like,
Glitch and I were in voice chat. We were in Discord talking about it, and we were talking about how easy it would for them to implement skips.
Yeah.
And he had just said, like, because I was talking about that same video, and it's like 40-some minutes to go through there to start to finish. And he's like, the only reason I even come back here is because of the skip. And then I had mentioned, I'm like, oh, are you going to try to get the shoulders? And it was silence, and he goes, no, I'm trying to get this, and then links it. And I was like, what the? it was like you couldn't have wrote it any better.
It was perfect. It was perfect. And anyways, I'm never going back there again. That's it.
And it's fine. You're like, somebody else can have those shoulders.
Somebody else, you know what? Yeah, give them the necro.
It's gonna be me right now.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, okay, you guys heard it first. So big congratulations down in the comments for these new shoulders that Zaft is about to loot.
That's right.
But I think that's probably going to be it for us tonight. We had such a good conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Please leave us some feedback. Let us know what you guys think. What do you think about the roadmap? Are we completely off our rocker with some of these harebrained things?
Probably.
I don't think we are, though.
Not
you
probably.
can say that, but I think we're pretty on the ball for at least, I'd say, I'm going to say we're going to bat at least 500. I think we're going to be doing pretty well. And I would love to see all these new, based on the feedback that we've given Ian today. So again, thank you, my friend, for watching.
Thanks, Ian.
So now they're going to change everything over to how we had suggested it. But I hope you guys consider subscribing to my channel here and then follow me over at Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Eggplant. I will put all the information of stuff we talked about down in the description of the video, as well as the email if you guys want to send us questions. It'll be down there at the very top.
Send us questions.
Yeah, we would love to answer your questions. Yep. And we will have more podcast episodes out soon. We're very close, at least as of recording this podcast, to getting AOTC for yet another tier. So far, we've got every one of them, and Fyrak is almost dead. I think this next week, assuming we raid, we have a very good shot. We got most of the muscle memory down and most of the phase 1, 2 into 3 mechanics. We just need to iron some stuff out, and he is good as dead. So
and more
that's
gear
all we've got.
So
yes, 100% more myth track gear. Tell me more. I don't need a mirror now, so you guys know I'm going to get a mirror in my vault this next week. But I have to do keys to get a mirror, so I better log off here and log on to WoW so we can get some keys done.
That's right.
So I appreciate you guys hanging out, and we will all see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.